Okay, so let's get started with week three's weekly sync. So, for the demos, Shah and Laura, would you guys like to start?
Yeah, sure. I can go through the code and then Laura can demonstrate it, or
Yeah, that would
vice
be great.
versa.
Sure, works for me.
Okay. Param, the screen sharing is disabled.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why it always happens. There, you can try now.
Working now. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Yes, sure.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
so
visible.
basically the task was to create a filter that would allow us to quickly access whatever we are searching for. And to implement it, we created an input field which would hold the data for our query. Our query is we have created a use state hook, and using that we are updating our query data using set query. This is executed every time there is a change in the input field through the handle change function. So the handle change function gets called and it sets an updated value in the set through the set query. Apart from it, we also have a clear button that shows up whenever we have a data in the query. So if when we click on the clear button, it just sets the query to empty again. And when we have data inside the query, we filter it. We filter our list, and we first convert everything to lowercase, and then we check if the item name contains the query string, and if it does, it maps it out to the list item component. And yeah, that's it.
I just wanted to mention one thing, which is that previously the key on the list item was index. We changed it to item.id because when you do the filter, the indexes don't actually map to the same list items anymore.
Yeah.
All right, that looks good. So, would you like to show the changes in the UI?
Sure, I'll stop sharing so Laura can do it.
Yeah, sure.
So this is the demo of it. Here we just have a list with some data in it already. And if you start typing, you can see that the list immediately filters the items based on whatever is in this string. Right now, it's things that are that happen to start with this, but if you use something like this, you can see, for example, that one right there. It doesn't actually start with A, it just contains it. So it's not just about the beginning of the string. Additionally, if you change the case of the filter, you will get the same results. And as you can see here, it doesn't matter what case the results have either. The clear button you can see shows up whenever you type something. And if you click on that, then it clears out and the whole list comes back. And that's it.
Okay, that looks great. Amazing work, you two. So, yeah, Shagun, would you like to go next? Yeah, right. Is my screen visible? Yes, it is.
Okay, actually, I have unstable internet. I don't know what's the problem with my hostel's Wi-Fi. I'm on mobile data.
Oh,
Okay,
we feel
so
your
our
pain.
task, right?
Krati
I
can
truly
relate.
do. Yeah.
Okay, so our task was to allow the users to connect with the like existing list which they have already created. So for that, we just created a form where they can enter their existing token and along with the button. If the a token they enter does not exist, it will simply show the message that no list exists. And along with this, we created two functions. First, the handle token change, which will change the value of the target basically. Along with this, a handle submit button, which will use check item function, which we imported from Firebase, where it will match the list ID. If it is present already in the database, it will like return the list which is associated with the token, and the user will get redirected to the list which is associated with the token. For the demo, for example, I entered my test list. It will show, it will redirect to the list. And for example, some random list which does not exist, it will show no list exists. And along with this, for example, we entered some spaces at the end, it will trim those spaces and consider the list token valid. And that's all for the task.
Yeah, I guess it looks great. Just a minute, I guess there's some network issue. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm back. Yeah, Shagun, that looks amazing. Oh, so Tuba has joined us finally. Hi, Tuba.
Hi.
So, yeah, Shagun just demonstrated the work that you both did. So it looks amazing. Well done on that.
I'm sorry I was a little late. My family is hyperactive these days.
Yeah, no issues. We understand. Okay, so I guess now we can begin with the learning module.
Kriti, would you like to merge the PRs by sharing your screen?
Yeah, actually, I'm having like some
Network
network
issues.
issues. Yeah,
Yeah, no problem.
I'll merge the PRs later on if that's not a problem, or if you could do it, that would be really nice.
Okay, no problem. I'll do it. Meanwhile,
Okay.
as we do it, there are two things I wanted to bring up. The first thing was that, oh, my camera is off. That earlier this morning, I think I pointed something out, and Tuva has already pushed the updates. So it's time to approve the PR again. I already tested it out. Seems to work well. And we'll merge this. And another thing that I wanted to mention, I think I wanted to mention to Shah and Laura, was that there was one similar application that I was working on in the past where we will have some search filter functionality. And from a user experience perspective, sometimes the user would refresh the page and then that search uh, keyword will just go away. So when we were working on that, what we implemented was a synchronization with the query parameters. So whenever the user types something, the same thing will be added in the query parameters. So if someone shares that link or if someone just refreshes the page, The query parameter will again be parsed and stored as the search query, and then it will still work. So that's a good functionality to have. That's not at all needed here, but just wanted to bring that up. Let me approve and merge both the pull requests, and then we can proceed with the learning module. I think this is also resolved. Yeah. So I don't think Shagun showed that, but after this update, now you can see the token here. Good job on that, Shagun and Tuba. I'll just merge this pull request. Oh, okay. Looks like there is some conflict. So we'll have to resolve that. That will take some time. I'll try to do that in the background as you go through the module. Yeah, you can proceed now, Krati.
All right, let me share my screen. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so the learning module that we have for this week is on pair programming. So I am sure that you guys, all of you must be pretty familiar with this concept already because you all have been doing pair programming for 3 weeks now. So let's begin. Okay, so talking about what actually is pair programming, it's basically like when two developers like work on a particular task by sitting together in front of a computer and take turns on writing code. So basically it's a very old software development technique where where two people work on a single problem by sitting together in front of a computer and writing code using just one keyboard. So pair programming has like can be implemented using many ways. One of the very popular way is the driver and navigator way. So you can imagine it like you are, for example, going somewhere and you are driving the car, and the person sitting next to you is navigating or giving you the directions on where to go. So basically, the control of the car is in your hands. You are the one responsible for where it is going, whereas the person is giving you, sitting next to you, is constantly giving you feedback on where to go and, uh, you know, take this route or take that route like that. So basically, the driver controls the keyboard and is responsible for writing the code. The important thing is that the driver should try to verbalize their thinking process as much as possible. Similarly, the navigator acts as a like resource or an advisor to the driver. So the navigator should ask questions, offer suggestions, and in that way, the particular problem could be solved in an efficient way. This thing is not like fixed. Uh, both the people can take turns on being the driver and navigator. This helps in solving the overall problem much more efficiently. Okay, so uh, there are a ton of amazing tools that like help people nowadays to do pair programming remotely, but like pair programming can happen even with a very basic simple setup. So basically there are just 4 steps of by which you can do pair programming remotely. The first step is to get on a call where you can share your screen, obviously. Then the driver shares the screen while the navigator provides them feedback and asks questions. So once the driver and the navigator have like the driver has written the code based on the navigator's feedback, then the driver pushes the code to a remote repo and the navigator pulls that code down locally. Lastly, the driver and navigator swap roles, and then the cycle begins all over again. All right. So let's talk about what is the right mindset and attitude that you should keep in mind while doing pair programming. So pairing could be considered like an exercise. It's like sharing your toys. So it could be more efficient if you have like if you go with the idea of your partner while pairing rather than arguing on what's the approach to be followed. So beginner's mind, embrace doubt and possibility. So it is very important to approach any particular problem with a very fresh perspective and open mind, like as if you have encountered that problem for a very first time, because it encourages both individuals to come up with more possibilities and ideas. Okay, it's a pair programming is not about teaching or mentorship. It's more like an collaborative approach to solve any given problem. Like there might be situations when one person is more technically like the one person has more technical expertise on a given problem, but it's important to note that like even if that's the case, both the individuals have equally valuable insights to offer. It is an opportunity to learn. uh, of course, when you work together on any given problem, both of both of you like grow and revamp your skills and learn something new from each other. The drivers should seek agreement before proceeding. So when you are in the position of the driver, that is you are writing the code, you should always try to seek agreement from the navigator before you proceed with the changes. The navigator, on the other hand, should ask questions and offer suggestions rather than just telling the driver what to do. Okay, now let's talk about some tools that could be used for pair programming. So some of the tools that could be used that I have personally used during pair programming is like CodePen, and there's this live share extension on Visual Studio Code. But there are a lot of tools that you can check out using these links. I'll share the presentation slides with you. Okay. Uh, Lastly, to end this, I want to ask everyone, the mentors and the mentees, that how does this align with your pair programming experience so far? I'm sure all of you must have had pair programming experience. The mentees definitely did, and I'm sure the mentors must have had some experience too. So I'd like to know what what and how has been your experience or any thoughts you'd like to share with us. Would anyone like to go first on sharing the experience about pair programming?
Yeah, I mean, I have mostly coded myself, so it's been a good experience because you get to talk out loud about what you're thinking and your logic, which is not something that's well developed in my case. So I feel like I struggled with it and I had to work on it. and most likely it will improve by the end of this program. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's good to know, Shah. It would definitely improve. We hope so. Anyone would like to go next?
Before pair programming, I would feel uncomfortable when someone would look at me while coding, but now it's like less awkward now.
Yeah, I have faced a similar issue. I used to be very like hesitant in sharing my code with anyone before pair programming, but yeah, that definitely improved after doing a lot of pair programming. Laura, Shagun, would any of you like to go next?
Sure. So one thing that I noticed, like this most recent week with Shah, our pair programming experience is quite similar to what you were describing in the learning module. But the week before with Shagun, we were both in a situation where we weren't quite sure how to handle it. So what we ended up doing a lot more of is like both just trying to come up with solutions, and then we were both presenting what we had come up with and then discussing the pros and cons of each approach. And that also worked really well in a situation where neither one of us was very sure how to like approach it in the beginning.
Yeah. So there could definitely be a lot of different ways on how you can do pair programming. This driver navigator way is one of them. So yeah, you can use different approaches as long as you get, you know, the right results. Shagun, would you like to go next?
Yeah, we get to know about different perspectives about approaching a problem and the different coding styles. And we get to know more about how to approach and how to deal with the problem. And yeah, got to learn a lot from all the partners I have got here.
That's great to know, Shagun. Um, Param, Raj, would you like to share your experiences doing pair programming?
Raj, do you have something to share?
Just give me a minute. In the meantime, you can go.
Okay. So I will share some of my personal experience pair programming. Um, as good as it sounds, sometimes there are things that can make pair programming hard. So if you're working in big organizations and if you're doing big work, sometimes one person constantly being the driver and the other being navigator can be tiring. So it is important to have uh, a mutual agreement on who gets to be the driver and who gets to be the navigator. uh, I don't know, very often. So there is a person named Saurabh in my company. He and his pair programmer came to a decision that in the first half of the day Saurabh will do the driving, and in the second half the other person Neeraj would. How that helps is, there's an equal share of responsibilities in terms of doing each aspect of the work. So that's something that I am still incorporating into my pair programming. The other thing that can be done is, so in the collab lab, in the project that you're working on, the way it has been designed, the way the issues have been made, is that usually two pairs would be working simultaneously on the same project without any conflict. We can have a similar ideology in pair programming as well, using tools such as VS Code Live Share, which is amazing. It allows two people to work in the same workspace using Visual Studio Code, which means that two people can work on different parts of the same issue, the same pull request at the same time. And that's a very good way of pair programming. It is something that I have done before. Yeah, exactly, Shah. The thing about Zoom is, I mean, I usually prefer Google Meet because it's simpler to open. It opens up in the browser and it doesn't have authentication issues. But again, Zoom is preferred by people because of the ability to control screens and to annotate. So that's unbeatable. And same goes for Visual Studio Code live coding. Yeah, that's my experience. Raj, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. So uh, I don't have a lot of experience in pair programming, but yeah, pair programming is not a time to to try to defend yourself, or try not to show that you don't know something. Uh, it's a great way to have a safe environment to collaborate uh, with your other peer with whom you are working on, and just be open to sharing what you don't know or what you know. So, like at my time at TCS Munich, there was my one teammate who was not coming to pair programming, and the reason was that we were having different branches and all that kind of stuff, and she was very scared of it, and she was like always resisting, don't create this many branches, don't use complex git mechanism. And somehow I made her to join one of the pair programming session, and then just walk through what's holding her back. So after that, things went well. So yeah, it's a time to be open with your peer.
Yeah, I guess that is true. You should be like pretty um yeah, like you should not always defend your coding style when it comes to pair programming. You should try to understand the approach that the other person is suggesting, and then you should come on a common ground. So I believe that would be the end of the learning module for this week. So, Param, would you like to proceed with the issues?
Yes, Kriti.
Actually, I
Thank you.
have.
Yeah, Raj has to do that. And it was the learning
Okay.
module was really good. We got a chance to learn so much about pair programming. Before Raj
Can
goes
I
ahead with,
ask a question before you go ahead?
yes, please.
I just want to know, I've come across some people who really like absolutely despise pair programming. And I assume it's because they've just had a really bad experience with it, but I'm just wondering, are there situations where pair programming doesn't work well?
Um, yes, there are situations where pair programming can have bad effects as well. When I was joining the company that I worked for, they initially assumed that I am the kind of person who would be against pair programming. The reason behind that being people who have mostly worked on issues on their own for most of the time, and who have a lot of self confidence in being able to do the work on their own, don't like to share the control and decision making, which is understandable. But working in organizations requires us to have the ability to tackle that, because sometimes the best decision and the sometimes making decisions with people being coherent doesn't necessarily end up being the best decision, but we still have to do it because sometimes sole ownership is not possible. And one thing that I have found to work very well in pair programming is that it reduces the amount of bugginess in the code, and you understand the code better. So there are two perspectives, and both perspectives of the code are different, which means that a shared focus allows us to reduce the bugginess of the code. But again, if you are completely clear about how you're going to proceed on that issue while working on it, and the other person intrudes the decision making and tries to do something that does not align with your initial thoughts, that can probably push you away from perfection. So um, in situations like that, I believe pair programming can actually have a bad impact. But that does not mean pair programming inherently is a bad thing. And once people get used to working with each other, we never start off knowing anyone very well. Once people get used to working with each other, once the team understands each other properly, then such problems usually go away. And then we start to see the actual benefits of being in pair programming. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Does that answer you, Laura?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Before Raj proceeds with, I used to be, yeah, I think I am kind of still like that, but I do pair program. So I'm trying to fight that tendency of myself to be in my own control. Before Raj proceeds with the issues, I wanted to talk about something that I noticed in the application right now. So this is something we should note. I mean, it doesn't make the application unfunctional. So if I go right now, I'm on the home page, and if I click the list link, it takes me to the list, even though we don't really have any token right now. So, and this is the combined result of both the PRs. So I wonder if this is something that was introduced recently, or if this is something that we never actually fixed.
This is something that was in our PR from last week that we didn't deal with. We actually knew this was an issue.
Okay, yeah, I think I lost track of it and I just wanted to be sure. Okay, that makes sense. In that case, we can take note of it and maybe we can deal with it later. There are many things we can do. We can disable the list link in case there is no token already added. We can just hide it. We can do many things, but yeah, it's good to take note of it. Yeah, that's it. Raj, you can proceed now.
Sure, sure. So we have like two issues for the upcoming week. And the very first issue is like if your list is empty, uh, then the application should prompt and tell the user how to add. Sure, sure. Yes. Um, can you see my screen, which has issues open on?
Yep.
And can you see while I'm switching between tabs?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So for the upcoming week, we have like two issues. And the very first issue is like the user should get a welcome prompt and some hints to how to add how to add first item in the list if the list is empty. And then we have another issue, which is the app should allow to mark the item that you have purchased, so that the app can learn how frequently you purchase item or how do you buy items. So one issue is more focused on enhancing the user experience with the UI, and the second issue is like more towards working with some JavaScript or integrating some functions here and there. And we have Laura and Shazeb for week 3 and Tuba and Shagun. Uh, we are on week 3, correct? Or week 4?
Week 4.
Okay, week 4. So we have Shazeb and Shagun and Laura and Tuba as pairs. So any preferences?
I'll let Shagun decide.
I'm okay with both.
Okay, so now it's the responsibility of Laura and Tuba.
I'm okay with both too.
Yeah, same here. I don't really care.
Oh, so now we are in a very, very hard situation where we have to flip a coin or do some prediction or assign tasks randomly. So how should we proceed, Param?
पकड़ बम्बे
Well,
बो कर लें.
exactly, yeah.
Yes.
I love the confidence though. Yeah, let's just I mean, obviously all of us want to try something new, and both issues are something new, so go ahead and assign them randomly, Raj. Akkad-bakkad Bombay Bo.
Sure.
Laura, do you
Arre,
know? Laura, do you know
we
about
can't do it.
akkad-bakkad?
We can't do it on the TCL call.
Let's do it right now. No problem. Laura, do you know about akkad-bakkad?
Okay, let me
Sorry?
do it my head.
Actually, I think in the West we have something. It's a
Eeny,
way of
meeny, miny, moe.
eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Exactly. Yeah. It's the South Asian version of eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Well, akkad-bakkad was first invented.
Yeah. Very predictable though. I mean, it works an even number of times. So we'll have Laura and Tua for number 7, and for number 8 we'll have Shah and Shagun, right? This reminds me of week 1. Aren't these pairs the same as week 1?
Yeah, they are.
They are bound to be.
It's your opportunity to connect with each other once more. And
I guess
also,
we
yeah, go ahead,
go
go ahead.
3 times. I guess we repeat 3 times by the end.
Yeah.
So you get 3 chances to pair with every other teammate. That's nice.
Yeah.
And also, I think this was the first week where all the pull requests passed the acceptance criteria before the weekly sync itself. So I approved both of them at once, which was really great. That's progress. All right. Do we have anything else to be heard before we finish up on the weekly sync? Also, do we have, okay, let's hear the preferences for the optional midweek sync so that we can plan them out more effectively from the next time. Do you want me to open the availability sheet?
Yeah, I guess just share the screen.
Let me open it.
Also, like just a casual questions, just for bonding of mentee and mentors. Do you guys play any games on Steam?
Yeah, I don't anymore, but Counter-Strike I used to play a lot.
I play Counter-Strike as well.
I do.
CSGO.
Yes.
It's like
Yes,
we
go.
have CSGO folks here. That's nice.
Let's organize sometime a CS:GO meet.
That would be fun. We have only one
Oh,
gamer
oh,
here. No worries, Tuba. If there's anything you miss, you can have a look at it later. We'll have the recording.
we can play Among Us, I think, all of us sometime.
Yeah, we can also play Valorant if everyone's up to it.
Yeah.
Well, Krati, you are at hostel. You need a good internet connection for that.
Yeah, that's the issue. But
I think that's probably the reason why Kriti is suggesting Valorant. No.
no, I'm suggesting Valorant because that's the only game I know how to play.
Come on. She's being modest, everyone. She is quite a gamer. Okay, let's look at the availability right now. Tuba is not here, so maybe we can take her opinion later. But for the midweek sync, we plan on having it, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometime along that, maybe Thursday as well. So are there any preferred days for you, Shah, Laura, Shagun?
My
Don't
schedule's
prefer
pretty open. Sorry.
the same.
My schedule's. Go ahead.
Yeah,
No.
Shah?
Yeah, I was just saying that uh, the same thing basically. I don't have any preference, and I think Wednesday would be ideal because by that time I at least hope that I'd be done with my PR. So it would be nice to have a review before submitting it.
Okay. What about you, Shagun?
Yeah, right. I'm okay with Wednesday.
All right. So Wednesday seems to win. Let's go ahead and I'll have a discussion. Like we mentors will have a discussion with each other, and we'll try to open at least 2 windows on Wednesday for any of you to join. Uh, for the midweek sessions, we would reuse the same link as this one. So the Zoom call that you're on, you can access that in your calendar, or I'll pin that link in the TCL-60 channel as well. So all our meetings will happen in this link itself. Last week you must have had a good. Okay, let's also look at the schedule just for the sake of it. So Shah, Lara, Tuba, and Shagun. Okay, this slot works really well for Laura, Tuba, and Shagun, and this slot works well for Shah, Tuba, and Shagun. So maybe we can plan 2 slots like these so that um, we give an opportunity to everyone to join. But anyway, if any of these schedules and availability change, feel free to update the sheet. I think you all already have it, and based on that, we can do the decision making. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. You were saying something, Shah?
You're just saying sounds good.
Okay. Perfect. So I think that's it. You'll have your pair threads in the channel soon, and then we can start working. Good day, everyone. Have a good rest of the Sunday. I hope your Eid went. I hope Eid went very well for all of you. I had like we celebrated 3 festivals here in India yesterday. We had Eid, we had Parashuram Jayanti, and we also had Akshay Tritiya, and I had my parents' marriage anniversary as well. So 3 things at once, 4 things at once for me. So it was a big
No,
day.
that's great.
Did you actually celebrate them all?
I mean, yeah, little things. But yeah, that's it. Let me stop the recording. Oops, I recorded that as well.